Hello. 1000 days, 1000 stores, 1000 crores. Let's start there. How did this journey begin? What are some challenges you faced and what did you learn from this whole journey?
Good morning, Dara. That seems so long ago. That was that was the first belief story that we had. And this was the time when we were transitioning, pharmacy, when we said we needed something, I think a goal to believe that we were not just a pharmacy, that comes attached to wherever Apollo Hospitals was. We started a few pharmacies. We said, what would it take for us to transition, to think of ourselves as a separate business? Now, this is the thing. Whenever, anyone in business, and I believe that, you need to set some audacious goal. And when you do that, so we said, why don't we try this? At that time, we were like 200 stores. So we said, let's think about this. And by the way, we were not even profitable. So we said, what would it take? And we said, at that time, I think we were some 150 crores or whatever. So we said, what would it take? And let's take this 1,000 crore target. And we said, time, 1,000 crores. Let's put every energy that we had. So I think this is a time when everybody gets together and you're working for a cause. And when this happens and you can pull a company together, it really builds it builds the DNA of resilience. It builds the DNA of belief, overcoming challenges. And at the end of the day, I think that when you can do it, everybody wants a reason to be successful with that. It's not easy. It's not everybody. But when you get there, it's a super high. So even I think I did this some 12 years ago. Right now, we're like 7,000 plus stores, and we add 2 stores a day.
That's
pharmacy
incredible.
stores. So, back in the day when we did this, I think 15 years ago, it was a big deal. It was super huge for us. And I think that belief still carries on. The beauty of this is the belief and the DNA that you can do and be successful will stay with you.
That's amazing. And when we talk about this journey as well, all of it that you have achieved and now what's happening with what you have achieved, what is it that you faced in terms of hard situations or challenges that you'd like to talk about and how you overcome them?
So I think more than anything else, what's the best thing for me was I had a fantastic support system. My dad, my sisters. So that's the immediate huge system. Apollo Hospital is always there. So not having to start, from ground zero was a big help. And so I think it made my life a lot easier. I think the challenge really was how do you juggle your family life? I never had work-life balance, and I think that's just me. I never had it. I don't have it. I can switch on to work. I can switch on to enjoy with my this thing. So to me, that's a luxury, but it's also an ability. So I think that juggling this life of your kids in school, 3 kids, school, husband, family, requiring lots of travel. So there were a lot of times that it taxed me that I'd have to get up at 4 in the morning, catch a flight, but I'd come back and I was traveling, and I still do. I probably take 4 flights a week, but in those days, for almost 30 years, I took between an average of 6 to 8 flights a week. And that's something. But I would be back for my kids' exams, be back around that time, school plays, activities, stuff like that, which is important, birthdays, and then we do, short vacations. My husband also was traveling so much. So I think to me that was overall a hard thing. Work-wise, I think it's building teams, and anybody who gets good at that can really make a big difference in your success. So early on, I was able to, I inherited a very hardworking team, But over the years, I transitioned and I continued to build. So when you have a team, not only that's highly competent, but trustworthy, integrity is super important in any business, in our business especially. And when you can build those teams and you can build depth in the team, it makes your life as a leader uh, much, much easier, because then you can concentrate on really looking at the woods rather than being in the trees. And I think that's something very, uh, um, any leader that is trying to do both, that would be a really tough one for them. And sometimes they would get lost.
Correct. And when we talk about mindset shifts, I'm sure from the time you started and where you are now, there are some things that you might have wanted to change or wanted to keep the same. So, if you had to give advice to your younger self, what are some things that you would like to tell them now and you'd like to?
Uh, One, because you're such a health professional yourself, I would say that in my, so I've always been fairly athletic with this. And in school, I would be, I played hockey for the state, I played cricket for the university, did lots of national level squash. And then after that, in college, track and field. So I was like really into sports.
All into it.
So then you think that your body is like, that you can do anything. And then I pushed it into the 30s. I had a bad accident, really bad car accident, broke my neck,
Oh my God.
my knee, and all kinds of things. So it was like, 6 to 7 months of 7 surgeries, rehabilitation. But then I got back to playing squash. And I kind of abused my body, because I said, hey, nothing will go wrong. I'm very fit. I'm able to do this. And then I had 3 kids, didn't watch my diet. So, you continue to push and abuse your body.
Limit. Yeah.
And at that point, crazy diets, stuff like that. And now in my 60s, when I look at it, when I'm getting back to what I was, and this thing, it's a big effort. So I know I'm talking a lot about health, but that's something I would really tell my younger self, that this body requires care. And don't think that when you have time for it, it'll have time for you, it'll give out. So right now I'm managing so many things that if I had done early on, if I had looked after, I would not be in this. So big part of anybody in their 20s, 30s, please remember that nowadays you will probably live till you're 100. So don't start thinking that, when you're 50, you need to look after your body, that you can give it more time. You need to invest right when you're young. This is just like you would do your bank account. I would think health is the same. When the piece of advice that I would give is, today, real world learning, of course, maybe not as important, but still important. So you need to do good things, get your concentration. School is a good one for that. University is good. You need to have that ability to concentrate and to stick with something, because nowadays, people will just say, oh, I can quit, I can jump, I can do this. I'll probably have 3 or 4 careers, not 2 careers, but I'll have 3 or 4 careers in my lifetime. So things like that, but it requires a foundation of concentration, of sticking in there. So I have realized that every time I did a quick business, and believe me, as an entrepreneur, I've done many quick businesses, I never gained that much. And I realized all the businesses that I stuck with over 10 years, really successful. So you have to invest time. You have to invest your time, your concentration. That's advice that I would give. Don't think getting rich quick. That can happen to a few people. But those that, look, when I was in my 30s, I partnered with somebody. We built a shipping company. I invested 10 lakhs. In about 5-6 years, I exited with 80 crores. And I'm in my 30s with that. So, but I blew everything because you're not prepared, right? So you do stupid things. And that's, I mean, I have many of these stories around. So the things that, I invested in really stuck with me and were successful. So look after your health, keep your concentration, invest in your thing. It's not a short term. This is a marathon. Run it right, and you will come out ahead.
So, when you talk about now the younger generation, education, and what an important role that plays for discipline and concentration, with what we are seeing now, with people under 25 also dropping out of school, starting businesses, and getting successful in that area, is that something that you think is right, or do you think we should take the conventional path and do it correctly and invest that time and effort into going to school, finishing the university timeline, and then starting something of your own?
So most people finish university by 21.
Okay.
By 25, you're like set. People are starting, like, I know so many billionaires at 25, self-made and this thing, because they have ideas. And I think education is such nowadays that it can be a bit flexible. So get your foundation right. You really need to do the school time. You need to get the social connection. You need all these to fire. These are things that are there in our DNA for thousands of years, that you had to have this build-up of your mind, of your social connect and all that. And then after that, when you get these ideas, you should invest in them. You can do, like the courses that you have today. The beauty is that when when you finish school, you have so many options to design. You don't have to get into a fixed curriculum of saying that, oh, I'm going to do my BA, I'm going to do my, professional law and medicine and engineering. Of course, those are, fixed
Fillers,
courses
yeah.
that you need to take. But if you're really looking at political science, if you're looking at some of these other, disciplines, you can design around for what you want. Why can't you mix economics and math? It's a fabulous combination. So things like that are available now, because as the human mind sees, most of the people that who have graduated today, their degrees are not relevant for what they do.
Exactly.
And many, many, many people. So I think we have to be flexible enough to be able to design and top up. I like engineering, actually.
What did you
Because
study? Can you tell us about?
I did economics.
Okay.
I did economics, and I think that some of those basic principles, in terms of the way that I have the strategic thinking, but that came through learning and listening.
Exactly.
I forgot that. I think uh, anyone who's young and has the ability to listen will be very successful.
And is that the kind of skill that you learn only from understanding and being present, or is that something that you can learn in school? Are there any specific courses that you would recommend that people take? Or
No, I think I think it's your personality. There are a lot of people who are born, who can listen and be quiet and absorb and put it to good use. And then there are people like me who have a bias to action. So if you can mix both, it'll be really nice. And that's my son is working to with me, and I see so much of me in him, and I want to kind of change that, but it's a big challenge because you can't tell kids nowadays. My younger daughter's been working with me for a long time. She has a personality that listens, and the way that she does, she's very studied, methodical with this thing, and this guy. We keep telling him, listen for 1-2 years, then you'll get in this thing. Because you can be super bright, but unless you're willing to listen and absorb, it becomes difficult. And then, of course, when talking about children, I can't leave out my older one, who always said, my path is different, and she has this, but she's hugely strategic. And I like to think she got a lot of that from her father, but some of it from me also, that she can think big and be strategic. So
and
these are good things for kids to learn, these big skills. These are big skills to be learning when you're in your 20s. But when you can keep on honing that, it's fantastic. That's why those kids that work in McKinsey or Bain or BCG or any of these big consultants, they learn how to problem solve
Exactly.
and how to think.
Correct.
And I think that's a very big skill.
When you talk about the younger generation, there are some traits that we all have. What are some that you admire and some that you are kind of worried about?
I really admire confidence. A lot of them think that we can do it. A lot of them are want to be on their own and say, hey, let me try this too. So I think that they're hungry to some extent. I mean, most of them are hungry to a certain extent. And I really like their ability to have a conversation with us. Sometimes an honest conversations, which we could never have with our parents because we had that like a little bit of a barrier. But here I can really talk to my kids and their friends. I like that. I think that interaction keeps both of us, keeps us more current and grounded, and it helps them also. It builds that relationship. So we have a nice relationship at this point. Of course, it's very, very difficult when they're young, and then it becomes like fiery.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
and now that they're all in their 30s, it's more relaxed. So I can say I enjoy it. What troubles me? I think that they're getting into a world of great uncertainty, and they're troubled by it too. They're troubled more by the environment, they're troubled by doing harm to people. They're very sensitive about such things. And I worry for them as this world gets larger, and how they'll cope. And maybe some of the things that we understood, whether it's about money, can all turn crypto. And so the whole thing of every basic tenet of life is upended now. You have AI. So with jobs, with the way that you have relationships, with the so many of them think, I don't have to get married, it's not important, or this thing. And these are beliefs, of how they have and what they're this thing. So I think that's a bit troubling, because I think grounding and being connected to your culture is very important.
Correct.
So that troubles me. But by and large, I think that they live in very interesting times.
And what is it? What is it that keeps you hungry in your 60s? I mean, from the time you started till now, what do you every day wake up to that keeps the fire alive?
So I'm in the middle of a startup
Oh,
that
okay.
is going public, that we started 5 years ago. So I transitioned from, just the pharmacy business. We set up an insurance company, ran that for 10 years, 11 years, sold it. And then after that, moved into this digital platform. And we said, here, now we can give health at much bigger scale. We can create an not just a pharmacy omni channel, but we can give other things in health. And so we built this tech platform, incredible tech of foundational health that you can ask it anything, almost the chat GPT of
Correct.
health. And we did that at probably less cost than DeepSeek. So that's the India factor that we've put in: great engineering, great talent. So now when we're scaling that, we just got 10 million, 1 crore subscribers that paid money for it. So that's nobody's done that for a platform before.
Correct.
So we're doing this at scale. We have about 30 million people that registered, but not that. We want to get them to start using it more for their health records, for everything that they can think of with health. This is the place to come. So it's super exciting for me. And I think that on the work front, I continue to stay excited. But I also continue to think that, my kids think that I'll probably do one more. But I'm just thinking, hey, let them do the one more, two more, three more with that. I want to spend time with them and their kids and
Correct.
my husband and do these things. Think about the travel that I've never done. I used to go into cities for just hours,
Oh my
finish work, come out, just get there in and
Little
out and
glimpse, yeah.
fastest, and maybe start discovering, spend more time with my friends, go on girlfriend trips. So your priorities change, but I think that what keeps you, so it's no longer a hunger to earn, but it's a hunger to experience. And I think that kind of thing to me I'm grateful for that I have the luxury to do that.
Correct. I think now we've talked a lot about business and your entrepreneurial mindset, but I think no one really knows the other side of you. When we talk about wellness, fitness, and health, you have recently cycled 620 kilometers from Hyderabad to Chennai, which is incredible. So, what goes into something like that? How do you prepare for it? What does your fitness and health look like?
Right now, I broke my foot, so I'm in recovery with this. And so I'm learning, things about recovery. But at that time, really, when we started cycling, it was COVID.
Correct.
And you're there, and I was so stressed. If you're a healthcare worker, COVID was your worst time in life, okay? So
Correct.
this was the time when we were like finding beds, trying to save lives, do this whole thing. I needed a release from that stress. And I'm not a morning person, but I had these great cousins who said, come on, let's start cycling. So my husband and I got onto the bike, and then all of a sudden, city is quiet. And at 5:20, you're cycling everywhere. And it was a whole different enjoying perspective. And then we realized, so the first time 10 kilometers, panting, puffing, got to 40, got to 50, and we could do like, a cousin and I could do 60, and we would do this 3-4 times a week. And so it became kind of this thing. So I said, as I approached 60, I said, come on, I have to give myself a challenge. Because when I was 40 and I had all the weight of 3 babies on me that I had carelessly not got rid of, I said, no, I have to get back. And I gave myself a challenge that I would run 5K
Yes.
in 28 minutes.
That's crazy.
And I just did it. It was raining. And I said, those are the things that I have to set so when I set a goal, so at that point, we set this goal and said, look, I'm going to do this. I had my cousin, she arranged all the logistics. It was COVID. And we had great fun down this thing. But the first day when it was so sunny and you have to do that 100K. So we used to start out early in the morning. There used to be fog, and then you get into
Correct.
a bit of sun. So I'm not a professional cycler. I'm not like super fast. But I think it's the endurance.
Correct.
And the mindset. And you can do 100K in a day if you train this thing. If you're doing 60, we cycled, to 80, 90 kilometers. We did it. But the thing is to be able to do it for 6 days continuously. That is the difference. To get up in the morning that early and say that I'm going to do this. So what is it that your body takes? What is it that your mind does? And I think both those together was quite fulfilling. And I'm really thinking, and everybody's pushing me what my next challenge is. Some are looking at it with fear, and some are really thinking, hey, I'm sure you'll do something cool.
I think, yes, I think I'm excited for that journey also. And when you talk about...
Hey, I'm not going to wait till I'm 70. I'll do that earlier.
And I'll make sure you do. I'll hold you accountable to that. I will ensure we train.
I will work with you to figure that.
Correct. And we also know when we talk about your fitness as well, what are some workouts that you do personally and that have worked for your body and that you swear by?
I think that one of the best things in my life is when I started Pilates, because I realized that, when you push your body with this hardcore fitness and you're doing this training that doesn't, help certain body types. So for me, if I do a lot of weights and heavy exercise, I bulk.
Okay.
And I found that with Pilates, I actually changed my body shape.
How did that happen?
With this thing, with, lengthened, more flexible. I was never flexible. But then I was, my whole body shape while cycling and Pilates together, the combination of long, sustained exercise and then the stretching with it, to me, worked really well for my body type. I mean, sometimes it's tough, to be able to think that you can give an hour for whether it's walking or cycling or this sustained exercise, and then of course you do this. So those that to me worked very well for my body because it really, I think my shoulders, I lost almost 2 inches, from this thing. So it changes your
It
body
gives you, yeah,
shape, and I
correct.
think that's something that I got back to from when I was in. It's been a long time since I had that. And you might not be, you'll be muscular and you'll be this thing, but that's not fun to me. I like that lean. Of course, I'm nowhere near that yet, but we'll get there. And I think adding in this new thing of EMS
Correct.
with this thing.
How has that
For
worked for
for
you?
busy people, twice a week, you have to add it into your thing. Especially as I age, everybody talks about weight training and things like that. But basically, it's strengthening your muscles.
Correct.
So when EMS is doing that, I really feel the difference just after a few sessions. So 2 days of that, I mean, even if 3 days, if I can work into it, now with my foot broken in my recovery, I added EMS for my leg. I have that machine just for my leg, and I think this is uh, this is something that should go mainstream. So Pilates, EMS, and cardio. Add these three, and I think I'm good to go for another 20 years.
That's really exciting. That's really interesting. Now, when we talk about three things that you would like to end off the podcast with, what is something that you'd like to tell about yourself and advice that you'd like to give that people haven't already heard? Something that we know about you.
I never had grandchildren for 11 years. And any time I saw these grandmothers, doting on their kids and not having time to come for dinner with me, or just go out and say, what's this? Till and when that moment strikes, believe me, it's life changing when you have grandchildren, that you'll actually work your schedules and you build so much love around them. So I'm really fortunate. I have three
And five on the way.
little girls. Oh, two more on the way. Yeah, with this. So I think that grandchildren is a big thing when you get later in life, and it's something to look forward and enjoy and embrace. So I'm very happy about that in my life. And I've designed my life to be able to spend a bit more. I think as you grow older, security is super important. So, financial security, how you look at it. When you're much younger, you'll take big risks and you'll be willing to bet the house and blow everything. You won't do it when you're in your 60s because, in such a changing world, it could very well be. I've seen so many big business houses. So, this is part of my number two. Being second generation, I've seen so many people in the lifetimes of the founder or the second generation, more so second generation, that destroy the wealth. So it's very, very important for us to be able to conserve and keep that. So to me, one is grandchildren, so families and this thing, and the second is this is wealth preservation, and so whatever you've earned, so you need to make sure that you've done the right thing, because as you grow older, whatever profession you are, you'll probably earn less, but you could earn more if you've invested it wisely. So I think these are lessons that are required. And the third one would be about relationships. I think you can never, look back on your life and say, no one's going to remember you that, oh, so that she did this with this 1,000 days and whatever you started with.
Exactly.
That's not going to be my epitaph. My epitaph is that I was a good human being and that I helped a lot of people and I kept relationships and I had fun and everybody, I had lots of friends and things like that. So as you grow older, I think that those would be the things that you'd work on. But it requires sincerity. I mean, it requires security and gratitude.
Correct. And that just reminds me of this amazing article that I had read of you and your family. It was on the Forbes page, which I saw this amazing picture of all of you sitting in the house. And can you tell us a little bit more about how that started? Because all of you in the family were doing a different task when Apollo had started. And how that carried on even with your children, and how Mrs. Upasana as well is now taking on with Apollo, like the initiative. So what do you like pass on?
That is really credit to my parents. My parents, and I think Dad, he built Apollo uh, to do some real good and transformational change for the country. But for us, he also built it saying that this is a family responsibility. So very early on, like I was in college and I started working, and then the four of us. So he built it as a family working together. And now he says that it requires even the next gen. So everyone is so connected in healthcare. And this kind of interdependence, like I said, I could never be successful if I did not have the support of my sisters, my dad, Apollo behind us. It's not like I started fresh or created that brand or anything. So it's just the ability for us as a family. So then it and necessity for sure, but I think that it's also so important to work on this bond and relationship, because it's only then, I think that's the greatest thing that will help us transition to the next gen. And then I don't know, when now they're 10, they're 10 G3 between my four sisters. The next, Pasta's generation is 10 of them. So they're kind of best friends. They get together. They don't do as much work together, but and maybe that's good. That they do have certain boundaries and the way they do it. But then there's a family constitution that requires them, and a lot of their wealth is interconnected. So they have a dependence at some level, with each other. And I think that's important. And we should keep that. Whether we can plan for generation 4, I think G3 fortunately is thinking that,
Correct.
how they'll do it for their kids, because
Correct.
there'll be a lot more of them. And that's their journey.
Understood.
But one thing is that we've given them a very solid foundation of my parents have given four of us a very solid
Strong. Yes.
bond, and I hope that we've given the 10 the bond. to move
100%.
on.
We can already see it. That's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Now, to end off our video, is there anything that you'd like to say that you want people to know?
I think I've said it all.
Yes.
I think there's the good thing is that I always believe that that there's so much tomorrow will be so much more fun. And I don't look at I don't regret my past. And I think if you can push that away, that it's a blessing and it's a talent to be able to forget. So fortunately, I can forget failure and what were the hard parts. Very difficult for me to remember that, because I think so exciting what I have ahead.
I love that. That's amazing. All right. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Mrs.
thank
Shobhana.
you, Zara.
I hope to see you again soon, and
Hey, for sure,
we'll
for
prep you
sure.
for the next fitness challenge.
And all the best also for your wonderful future. You're one of those young, very aspirational women. So you're the future.
I think I remember the first time that we also, interacted, when I told my mom, as soon as I saw you, I said, "This is amazing. I've never seen someone as, carrying that aura and carrying that legacy of women empowerment and, being so strong." So I think it's all because of you, and it's all because of the mentorship that you've also given me. So thank you so much.
No, all the best to you. Thank you.